Now it's recording. It had standby, that's what it was. So it's recording now.
Okay. Well, here we go. Oh, yeah. May is already way calmer than I've ever walked her before, and I've been walking them for years. We always turn left, as you can see. They know. And this house is our neighbor's house. You can show the house if you want. There's another dog that lives there, and when it was a puppy, it had a really weird bark, and it still kind of does. So May used to like teach it how to bark, which was interesting. Come on. May is a bit of a motor vehicle enthusiast. She enjoys sniffing them and watching them drive by. Mo likes to zigzag. And pee. Mo loves to pee. She'll probably pee 10 times. I got walked every day from May to mid-August, and now it's been, what, about a week since their last run?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Craig Post running for school board.
Yes. All of 18.
He was one of our Cub Scouts. Just kind of evidence that this place has a lot of memory to it for all four of us, really. May definitely seems to not care for being even a little bit restrained here. I have to say I kind of like it. Mo seems to enjoy being in the lead. She's almost never is. Pretty sure that house, that little garden thing, it used to have a deer statue with red eyes. We always called it demon deer. I mean me and the dogs. We always had to sniff it. I might be mistaken though, it might be some other house. Oh yeah, there it is.
There's the demon deer.
Right there.
Oh, let's zoom in on that.
Seems smaller somehow. When this was a daily trip, they would still always sniff, not necessarily the same spots, but most of the same spots. And I'd always wonder how much different it could really be. Since it's been more than a few days for them, I guess it could actually be different this time. Now this yard, past this tree, this house has been abandoned for a while. They weren't very good about mowing the lawn, whoever owns it.
Well, somebody new owns it now.
Oh.
They fixed it all up.
Well, that's good, because the grass used to grow like taller than the dogs were. One time May just stopped on the sidewalk and she started staring into the grass, and I thought for sure there was like a squirrel or something. She leaps into it, and it was a leap too. And she came out with a licorice, and she was just chewing on it real happily. Somehow she saw it hiding in all that tall grass.
She's good at finding abandoned food.
She's very good at finding abandoned food. She thinks it's part of her job to clean up the city streets of anything edible. She has a loose definition of edible. There's probably a lot of background noise from all the cars. We do live on the busiest street in our small town. Actually, we have like a service drive just because the main road is so busy. Sit. Oh. Sit. Oh. Make them sit whenever we're gonna cross the street, and no matter what, they always hate that first one. It's impeding their forward motion. Love these. They love smelling in these kind of giant shrubs, which are popular in this town. Always makes you wonder, like, what kind of invisible ecosystem is there that I can't see, but they know everything about it. Hi. Just being a bit of a car enthusiast again. Yeah, I'm glad you came after all, because the first time they got me tangled up, I'm not sure how I'd handle that with the camera.
That's Debbie's house that they're working on here, my coworker. 5 cats and a dog.
I think our house is a zoo. Hey. And normally May never gets her leash tangled up in her leg. I wonder if it's due to her restraint.
It is.
By the end, Mo usually tires out a lot more than May, and she gets tangled up like every other step. They don't seem to notice the false bunny, or maybe they can tell the difference. Ceramic bunny statue in the yard there. I guess we gotta wait for you a little bit. No matter what, May always has to go sniff that storm drain. It's one of our check marks. I almost thought it was another licorice. That'd be exciting if I talked about it and then it happened again.
Well, it's something.
It's definitely something. That's another one of the things they love to do is rub themselves in spots. I don't know if they're trying to smell like it or make it smell like them. Maybe both. Mo's not interested though. That's interesting.
Okay.
All right. I'm sure it's fascinating, but May, come on. Oh, she does not like being pulled by this thing.
She doesn't like you having it. She didn't mind me so much.
She knows I'm lax on discipline, unlike you. Sit. Sit. Okay, I'm gonna take a small detour out of the way we usually go. This is a local landmark. For the longest time it was Viking Cones, but now it's the Dairy Boy owner change. It's kind of interesting. There was another one. The Viking Cones closed, and this was just nothing for years except for an interesting ice cream structure. You can see that, hopefully, in the shot. Oh, this has never been like this before. Like the juxtapose of the handmade snowmen and serial killers. But this was closed and empty for a long time. So another one opened over there by Jets called Viking Twist. And then this one reopened with the new owners, and it was the dueling ice cream shops. This one won though. I can't help but think it had something to do with the architecture. And then this is new this summer. Yes, the ice cream cone there. This is new this summer, this wood statue here. It used to be a tree that I hope it died, otherwise they just kind of killed the tree for the sake of art. But the bear, the guy carved the bear, or at least the outline of it, you could tell it was a bear within the first few hours. But the ice cream cone was the last thing he added, so for the longest time it was just this random bear by an ice cream shop, and it was weird. Oh, another Craig Hope poster. Well, he's campaigning, that's good. Means he cares, I guess. So this house, the green one there, a girl, when we were passing one day, a girl came out with a big boxer dog on one of those tiny, thin, retractable leashes, and it was just not strong enough at all for this dog because it saw our dogs and immediately started running towards them. And she, I think, pressed the brake or whatever it is, and the leash just snapped. So this dog's trailing like 1.5 feet of leash, and it runs over to our dogs. And she's just screaming, like, alternatively for her dog to get back to where she is and how sorry she is. And my dogs just kind of stood there. That's their defense whenever anything happens. They don't really know how to handle it, I guess. They're both somewhat sizable, and there's 2 of them, but they don't seem to realize that. They're not fighters, except for each other. They don't like each other. What's interesting, though, is Mo hates the dark, and she's even more afraid of fireworks, so July is not a good time for late night walks. May doesn't ever care, so she'll go whenever. So one night I waited too long and it was dark and there were some booming sounds in the distance and Mo just refused to go. And May kept turning around for the first block and she was like, where's Mo? So even though May doesn't like Mo, she's part of the routine, I guess. And then apparently when my mom first got the gentle leader and she was trying it with May, I don't know, they must not have been doing it right, and May was just not cooperating, so she put May back in the house and took Mo, and Mo did not care at all that May wasn't there.
No, not even a backward glance.
May. Oh, okay. She doesn't even seem to mind her leash getting caught in her armpit, so whatever. This is another house that they always have to sniff the storm drains. Not the first one though, always the second one. There's 2 in this kind of mini ditch here. We just passed the first one a few steps back and now, yep, I was afraid they were gonna make a liar out of me, but they're pretty dependable. There's, oh God, squirrel party on the other side of the street there.
They see it.
Mo likes to pretend she's a hunter, but I don't think she'd know what to do if she ever caught one. We've already lost interest, I guess. I took this walk with my boyfriend once and get the signs. He commented how interesting it is that local elections almost never are, there's never a partisan thing on the signs, like this doesn't say Republican or Democrat or Independent or anything. Apparently that's unusual in Plymouth, Canton, where he's from. Actually, last time when I walked with him, it was probably August. And there was one that it said Republican on it. I don't see any of those, so maybe he lost in the primary. This is kind of the dangerous part of the walk. It's this street here. It's called Michigan, and it's probably the second busiest one in town. Second or third. And as you can see, there's not much room between the sidewalk and the road. Later on, it gets even smaller, like the sidewalk's right against the road. There's no yard in between. So it's given May's proclivities for vehicles, it's kind of important to keep an eye on her during that part. Maybe this thing will help keep her in check, though. It's also interesting whenever there's a biker or even just a large group of people like coming the other way on the sidewalk, the kind of sidewalk politics of who has to step off to the side and who gets to keep going. Even though I'm just a single person, my 2 dogs usually gives me quite a bit of advantage in those situations. Then there's some who just say, excuse me, but not in a very polite way. As if the sidewalk is their God-given right. I don't care that much.
May.
Yeah, there she goes, trying to go into the road. There's also, there's often puddles in the curb there. May loves to drink from puddles.
Yeah. It's been dry lately, so.
Sit. Sit. Okay. I make them sit at the crosswalk because if they ever get loose, I would want them to know to stop before they run into a road, but
Yeah.
I think the only lesson they've taken is to stop when I stop. When May was younger, we used to joke that as soon as her butt touched the ground, she was instantly 100% re-energized because she pulled so hard, like out of the sit. She basically, it was like the beginning of a track race when they're out of the block. She like explodes out of it and runs across the street. They're both getting pretty old though, so that's diminished a bit. I'm actually surprised there's not as many Halloween decorations as I thought there would be.
So,
Yeah, I just thought it was, I mean, they're not for sale in the stores, so. Oh, there's some. This town is small and there's no crime and it's fairly wealthy, so people tend to go all out for decorating. This is not my definition of all out, by the way. I think this is our 4th pee stop. We're not even halfway done, so. I just always assumed it was to mark our territory, but then somebody told me that girl dogs don't do that. Which doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why wouldn't they?
I don't think that's true because I've seen one of them stop to pee and the other one stop to pee right on top of it. So.
Yeah, there's one house towards the end of the walk. We call it the Basset Hound house because their Basset Hounds are always kind of free range and they've not attacked us, but like run up to us and barked at us many, many times. So my dogs pee in their yard just to taunt them, I think. And as soon as we walk past, if they're being restrained, like as soon as the guy stops restraining them, they'll run out and pee in the same spot, like to reclaim it. This house is always so well kept. I always feel bad if we ever end up having to go in their yard to avoid people. And I feel really bad if Mo pees in it. Like I'll try to discourage her from doing so. There are yards that are acceptable for peeing, and this is not one of them. Sit. Mo, sit. Okay. The guy who lives here, if he's ever out in his yard when I'm walking past, he always makes a point of it to stop and say hi.
Some deflated Halloween decorations.
Yeah, there's a sad looking, I assume it's a witch. But the first time I ever talked to him, he complimented me on my dogs, which I'm always not sure how to respond. Like, do I say thank you? But he's not really complimenting me. I didn't make them. But he was like, yeah, nice dogs. I used to have a dog and then it died. I was like, oh, okay, thank you, sir. I hope you get another one at some point. And then this year he did. He had a German Shepherd, so I was happy to see that. That's a little bit more all out, I guess. I was actually surprised this is the first dog that's barked at us. In the summer, you get like a chorus. Like there's a warning sign that dogs are walking down the street. You can tell where they are by what part of the street's the loudest.
It's like in 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, it's like that, except the dogs
Twilight
are...
bark.
Yes, except that's like helpful and community oriented, whereas this is jealous and get out of our lawn. And oh, poop break. You don't really have to
No.
do that far.
Well, scan over here.
It is part of the walk, though. Kind of a time-honored tradition. It's not a good walk unless somebody poops. Mo, stop it. Mo likes to kick grass over it. Some instinct, I assume, to hide her poop. Half the time she gets nowhere near it. One time she kicked her poop and it went everywhere. And that was just... I'm sure if anybody looked, they were laughing.
It's like there's monkeys on Madagascar.
Yes, the monkeys.
If you have her poo.
If you have poo, fling it now. Come on. And this storm drain, for whatever reason, is never interesting. I don't understand storm drain, I don't know, politics, I guess. Let's see, that's a little more what I was talking about, too. Oh, sorry. I thought you were behind me again.
I was going there. It didn't work out.
It is. Yes, coordinating the people and the dogs to never be in each other's way is kind of exponentially difficult the more creatures you add to the mix. They know we don't cross this street. They always take this turn fairly sharply because I think they resent being told to sit. There's the puddles like I was talking about. If we were closer to the street, May would be in it. It's really funny in the winter because she gets so thirsty because she pulls and pulls and pulls that I mean, you can even hear her panting now a little bit, but it's worse without the gentle leader thing. This bush is always fascinating, I'm not sure. But anyway, in the winter, May will run through a yard and just kind of, if there's snow, and just kind of scoop her mouth down so that she doesn't have to stop moving, but she gets some water. It's quite impressive, actually. It's a nice little maneuver. It doesn't impede her forward motion at all. And despite how much they yearn for these walks and they just get so excited when it's time to go, they're like a dad on a car trip, gotta make time. Sit. They just don't seem to stop and enjoy it, but they always love it, so okay. I guess I have some other form of enjoyment that I don't understand even after all these years. This house, somebody went to school and graduated with, lives here. And it's been more years than I care to admit since high school graduation. And so whenever we would see each other during the summer, he would be mowing the lawn or just doing something in the yard and I'd be walking by. We just kind of refused to acknowledge each other because we didn't want to admit that we were still in our hometowns with our parents. That was what it was like at community college too. For the first 2 years, because it's a 2-year school, there's tons of recognizable faces and we were all friendly with each other. And then at the beginning of year 3, there were very few of us and we didn't want to talk to each other because it was kind of like admitting failure. We were still there. Oh, something is over there. Must have been a squirrel I didn't see. Wow, she still manages to pant with that thing on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess her mouth is still available to her.
Yeah.
It's not a muzzle.
Nope, not at all.
This house has somehow managed to find a different Tweety flag for every occasion. It's always Tweety. It's sort of impressive. Sidewalk detour, another part of it. Usually it's just somebody parked across the sidewalk. Normally if it's somebody parked across the sidewalk, I'll walk through their yard just to spite them, because that's rude. It really is. I think it's also illegal,
Yes,
at least in
it
this
is.
town. I don't think I've ever seen it enforced or a ticket or anything, but
Well, I can tell you from experience in Port Huron, I did get a ticket for parking across the sidewalk.
yeah, Port Huron's got a bit more active of a police force, though.
Actually, I was trying to drop you off at the babysitter when you were little.
Now I feel bad.
No.
You had to pay money for something your child did? Gasp.
Yeah.
Oh, our second barking dog. Maybe they're all hibernating. This basketball hoop is normally knocked over. So that's an interesting... It's like cold weather and now they've put it back out. This house won an award for like Lawn of the Year or something like that from our Marysville Beautification Commission. Because you're in a small, wealthy town when that's one of your commissions. So how do we make this place more beautiful? And I swear, they were supposed to re-award it every month, and I swear they had it for like months and months and months. So I don't know if they were just reluctant to give it up or if they really were the best house that year.
Ever.
That's it. Okay, so the lady at that white house across the street there, during the summer, she has two yappy dogs, like tiny yappy dogs. And they were one of the worst at barking at us when we walked by. And so she was sitting in like a lawn chair, and she had their leashes looped around the legs, and they pulled her over. There's like these two 5-pound dogs pulled over this full-grown woman. She got right back up, otherwise I would have gone and checked on her, because it was a tumble. These three are like our official welcoming committee. It's weird when they're not here barking at us. And then we turn at that pine tree up there, and they know that we turn. It's the sharpest turn of the walk. Like, I've been pulled into the tree more than once. And so this house's yard actually loops around, so there's a small part of their fence that's on this street. And for whatever reason, only that tiny black dog follows us around. The two big yellow labs have never barked at us from that side. Actually, one did follow, but it just stared at us. It didn't bark. I think it wondered how we got to the other side.
How did you do that?
Oh, this house was pink 6 weeks ago. That's interesting. Yep, there it is. It's up on its deck, kind of getting adding some height to it, I guess, to make it more intimidating. Oh,
There.
wow. First time for everything. We did wait longer than usual, though. This house, I kind of don't like them because they had chicken bones in their house, I swear, once a week. Not in their house, in their yard. And May ate one once, and I was afraid she was gonna die. She just snatched it up before I even noticed. And it was every week. What are you doing? Why are there chicken bones in your yard? Then the other reason is they have a miniature poodle they don't keep under control, and so it's run at us many, many times. And small dogs are mean.
I remember when May almost ate the baby bird.
May did not almost eat a baby bird. She was surprised at what it was. She thought it was a rock or maybe a poop. Because May likes to eat poop. May likes to eat anything. So there was this tiny bird on the sidewalk. I didn't even know what it was. And she went up and she kind of sniffed it and then started flapping and tweeting at her. She was as surprised as the rest of us. So the baby bird just kind of hopped into the yard and May like watched it. She didn't do anything, which I am convinced is evidence that she wouldn't have eaten it. But there is a dissenting opinion.
Yeah.
There's a long leash over there. That's the other funny thing is I must not look like I'm in very good control of them, because anybody with dogs will go to the other side of the street rather than have to pass us. And I always kind of shorten their leashes whenever we're going to pass a person, just because my dogs will jump on people and lick them to death. Like, that's the worst they'll do, but some people don't like that for some reason. And so the people will give us like a wide berth and give us the stink eye, and I'm like, whatever. I did that for your benefit. Oh, squirrel. I love how squirrels like prance. They don't just walk. That's, I guess, the non-domesticated animal viewpoint there. Juxtaposed to this one. See, this is rude. Like, why have you got to block the sidewalk? We're walking
Trying to move.
We're walking through this person's yard. What is there Dilophosaurus on it? What is that? What does that do for your company? Majority of this strange has unknown to science. Learn more about the Connecticut River Valley at uhaul.com. Okay.
See, you never know.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah,
There's a
that
big
dog usually barks out. It's funny because Mo is a black lab mix and she's smaller than most labs. So any like full purebred lab that's like full size, we just call it Big Mo.
Big Mo. That's a big Mo.
And actually, Mom is friends with the woman who lives here. She wasn't sure if she still lived here until we were at an open house for my cousin that the friend was at too, and she asked who walks our dogs every day. So that was how we knew she still lived here, because I take the same route every day. Sit. Or at least somewhere on the route, I guess. Okay. So that's just, like she had seen me every day, or, at least more days than not. It's like, what are you doing? Like, why are you just looking out your window all day? Because I don't go at the same time every day, so. Like this place just kind of resists change. Like there's small changes like that house color, but for the most part, this is exactly the same route as, 5, even 10 years ago. That's kind of Marysville in a nutshell. Resists change. I actually had another woman, probably 3 years ago now, who said that she was proud of me for walking my dogs every day. Completely unknown to anyone in our family, so I guess another person just staring out the window all day.
People are home.
Sit. Okay. I used to go around this loop, but since, see, dog sidewalk politics here. We're the bigger party, so we win. Hello.
Come on.
But yeah, I used to walk around that loop rather than go down the street. It just added a little bit of length to our walk, and it was One of my good friends lives over there, although I never ran into him in years and years because he's kind of a couch potato, but whatever. But nobody ever walks down there because it's not a dead-end street because it loops back around, but it's basically a dead-end street. May. And all the people on that street are so bad about keeping their dogs under control. Like, we got bum rushed probably 3 times per day. So it's just not worth the trouble anymore. And one dog was like mean too. I was afraid it was gonna come to dog blows, dog fisticuffs. Hey, you're all terrible. There's a thing, and now it's not an interesting thing anymore, so forward motion continues. I feel like my dogs are the worst in the world when it comes to like staying on the sidewalk. They enjoy walking through yards.
Grass is better.
Grass probably has better smells, and during the summer it's not nearly as hot, I would guess. This pavement gets pretty hot on your bare dog feet. And yes, we do refer to their front legs as both feet and arms. May, come here. Step.
Good.
Another Craig Hope sign. I don't really have much to say on this stretch because this is always the most boring part. Nothing too eventful has ever happened once we abandoned the loop. It just went straight down the street. Don't ever see very many people walking along this stretch either, so maybe it's just, I don't know, we were talking about psychogeography. Maybe this just like screams boring. Not dangerous or friendly, but boring. There's almost always a bunch